Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In this one, I'm actually interviewing one of our successful clients out of High Level Systems. And the reason I'm bringing him on is to talk about, how to monetize your audience. Because it seems like a lot of people online, they've built a platform for themselves, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, and they're not even really sure how to go about making money off of that audience. And us as our company, this is our YouTube channel. We've got Instagram as well, and it's $1 million yearly plus business with as tiny of an audience as we have. And it's because we solve, hard problems to solve, like what we've solved for Harry, helping him, design and sell a product to his following. And so Harry's a good example of, he's taken a lot of time to build this audience, but he was literally making scraps off of it. So he's making like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And so we were able to 10x his business in a matter of 30 days, from $2,000 to $3,000 a month selling some graphic design on the side to building a high ticket offer. I believe it's a coaching program that helps people navigate, growing their social media accounts. And now he's selling that over the phone to clients, taking 1 or 2 calls a day, which takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. And his income has gone from $2,000 to $3,000 a month to $30,000 or more a month, which is just an insane number to even get to say for a lot of people. And so I just wanted to share this. We've got a lot of clients like Harry that have gone on to succeed with us, especially post building their platform. And whether you have an audience or not, we can help you, because there's a lot of speedy, high growth ways of getting those sales calls in the door, whether you do or don't have an audience. But when you do have an audience, it's literally as simple as just putting out a little call to action, getting on the phone, and then knowing how to sell, which is a total art form in of itself. So Harry's a great example of taking a lot of action. And, he even in this interview says, look, if you're on the fence about getting help or about, investing in yourself or about getting a coach or a team or somebody to help yourself, he says, just go all in. And that sounds biased and, towards us, but really even myself, like I'm about to spend about $40,000 in company money on this coach to help me with the internal operations of my team and the structure of my business. So I would encourage you, if you like Harry's story or you resonate with it at all, or you feel like, some of the things that Harry is saying kind of relates to you, to book your free consult call with us directly using the link in the description. We don't hard sell. We only make offers to people we know we can help. And even if you don't end up investing into, joining High Level Systems and getting our help, it's more than likely going to be the most valuable 40 to 60 minutes you spent growing your business this year, because we have extreme clarity on exactly what you have to do in order to start or grow your existing consulting, coaching, or agency business using very simple formulas and frameworks that have worked repeatedly after working with over 600 clients. So without further ado, I'm gonna get straight into the interview. That's a lot of hype. This is my friend and client, Harry Needham, and he's gone from $2,000 to $3,000 to $30,000 in less than 30 days, directly after joining us in High Level Systems. So I just wanted to say welcome to the channel, Harry, and enjoy the interview. All right, Mr. Harry, welcome to the channel, dude.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. You've been doing a great job inside of the program. You've been setting a good tone for a lot of especially the beginner students. So I figured it'd just be good to share, what's bringing you to the sort of success that you experienced. May I just confirm before we started the call here, you've been with us like just over a month, and in that month you've contracted 30,000 in business. And as far as my knowledge goes, you've never sold high ticket before, but I want you to confirm all of that. So I'd love to hear more about your experience so far and just the lessons you've learned, and just help the audience get to know you a little bit, and even learn a little bit myself of what's making it all work for you.
Yeah, for sure. So essentially what the position I've been in is the last year. So since March 2020, I've been building my presence online, specifically on Instagram. So building a page, building a personal brand. And it's gone very well. It sort of blew up, and last year gained over like 100,000 followers, engagement's been really good, and built a very strong community. But the issue I had was there was no real strategy, no real business strategy behind what I was doing. And, there was a lot of reasons for that. At the time of starting the page, I was living at home with my parents. I didn't have any real need to sort of scale the business. It was just a case of, it's a creative outlet for me. I'm just doing it as a form of enjoyment. And if I get clients that come from it, great. But there was no strategy behind it. And essentially, fast forward to September last year, and business was in a good place. But now I wanted to move house. So I had moved out, moved into my own place with my partner, and reality started to set in that, just relying on posting content with no real business strategy it wasn't going to cut it. I was earning enough and I was comfortable, and I put off getting help for, well, since September until April this year. I put off getting help for that long, and maybe even before that. And I keep myself for that because I know, and especially now, that to push on, sometimes you have to get help. You have to sort of throw your ego away and understand you can't do everything on your own. And, so I found myself in a position in April where I had some clients, but in terms of a business sense, I was probably at the lowest that the business has been. In a way that I had clients, but I had no real predictability in whether those clients would be staying on. I had no predictability in getting new clients, and I had no strategy to get new clients. I was just basically crossing my fingers and hoping that someone else would come along. And I didn't want to keep doing that. So that's obviously then when I decided to reach out to you and join your program. And it's just changed the game completely. I've changed up my offer. So originally I was doing a done for you service. I was creating content for businesses and for brands and helping them with managing their pages on Instagram or on social media. And it was great. But I needed a bit of a lifestyle change as well because I just wasn't enjoying it. And I knew that for me, I have to not only earn money with what I'm doing, but I have to be fulfilled in it. And, once we had a discussion and, I had a discussion with your team, we transitioned to a done with you model, so a consulting offer, a much higher ticket as well, and just started pushing that and using the community I had built and leveraging that to get clients. And it's just simplicity in methods you need to take. And the issue is that I didn't know what those methods were. And just, within the first month, just a few little things, a few little ideas, a few little tactics and strategies, and just makes that huge difference, So it's just been a case of getting that clarity, understanding the direction, understanding the steps I need to be taking every single day, knowing my numbers, getting to a position where I need to be. And ultimately, I think, I had all the right foundations, all the right ingredients, I just didn't have the recipe, and that's what the program's given me. And that's so now I'm in a position that I'm in because of the work I've done, but also I now have you guys on my side, giving me the strategy, giving me the roadmap. And yeah, it's just been great. I can't really emphasize how good it's been in just simply 1 month.
That's awesome. So what do you think those main lessons were? Because you said there was just a few key things that you learned. What are those things?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is just actually asking for the sale, and putting it out there that you have a service to offer. I think most people, including myself, are probably afraid to announce it to the world that you have a service or announce it to the world that you can help someone. And there's going to be multiple reasons for that. But I think, for me, I was just in a position where I knew I could help people, but maybe I was afraid, or maybe I felt the pressure of, if I do put myself out there, I have to get results, and, all of these sort of mindset blocks that were stopping me. But, just having conversations with yourself and seeing other people do it, and that was enough to sort of push me on and say, well, look, you can do it. You're qualified to do it. And that was one of the things. And I think it's also understanding the steps you have to take, how to get people on calls, knowing your close rate, knowing the numbers you need to, get on calls, how many are going to come out of that as, a client, and, knowing on a sales call what to say, how to phrase it, your tone of voice, just all this very small details have quite a big impact. And I think that it's just those small details that when I look back on my past year, the amount of opportunities I've missed because I didn't know those small details, and it really puts it into perspective how it is the small things sometimes, not all the times, but it is the small things that can make such a big difference. And they're just a handful of them, and there's definitely plenty more where that came from.
That's great. So really, it sounds like the main two things are just giving yourself the permission to sell. So really saying, yep, I'm an authority. I have something that matters. And the next thing it sounds like you're saying is numbers. So being able to understand the operations of your business so you're not just unpredictably growing or shrinking and not knowing why, which that's 90% of the clients that we meet with, that's where they're at. And then the next thing is, it sounded like sales. So it's like numbers, authority, and sales. Would that be a good way to summarize what's taking you from where you were to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think another word to put in there is like clarity. It's just having clarity on the entire process. And I think that it's very difficult to get that clarity when you're stuck in your own head. Just simply having someone to talk to, whether that's a coach or just someone in the community, just having that second person, that second opinion, just gives you a different perspective. It just helps you to really understand what are the things you should be doing, or what are the things that could move the needle forward in your business, and what isn't. So that's another thing to throw in there, which is clarity. Like I said, there's a lot of things, but they're sort of the main ones.
Yeah, that's good. If you were to guess, I mean, how many connections did you make within our community? Because I'm actually noticing there's a big correlation between people networking inside of the group and like making those connections and asking questions. I mean, how many people have you met? Have you met any good people? Just out of curiosity, because a lot of our other clients are doing well. That's their story as well. So I'm curious how that's been for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, in terms of like people I've connected with, I can't think of an exact number. You're probably looking at around 5 or 6 people that I've actually DM'd, spoken to properly, and I've got on a call with a handful of the other guys in the group, and it's just good to network. I've always enjoyed networking anyway with people in my community on Instagram, but to be able to be in a position where you're networking, not just with people who are potentially one step behind, people who are at the same level, but also people who are 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps beyond you. That's like a really valuable thing, to have those people at a click of a button to be able to connect with. Is definitely helpful. And just being
That's
on the
cool that you say
calls.
that, because I'll be filming soon a module for the training called the failure uniform or something like that, where it's basically just talking about the things that I see clients do that hold them back from succeeding. And in it, I want to talk about the importance of what you did, which is being in the community, being humble, asking questions, understanding that often it's just the right question asked the right way to the right person, and that sounds like it's shallow odds that you'll get it, but it's just a matter of doing it over and over and over again and having those connections, having these conversations. And I think that's one of the things that I think we pride ourselves on, is providing that community. So I'm happy that you were able to benefit from it. But let's speak out into the future a little bit now, because we're just over 30 days in, just over 30,000 in contracted business. What does the future look like for Harry? Like, where do you want to get next year, 2 years, now that you kind of know what you know? What are your goals, and how do you see us helping you get there?
Yeah, but I mean, look, the initial goal was to get to 20K to 30K months, for the end of the year.
Well, we
And
did that.
pretty much, yeah, I'm pretty much thereabouts already, which is just mind blowing in itself. I think the challenge now is like, it's got to be consistent. Yes, it's great, I've done that in a month, but now I need to keep it up. And I think that, I have a lot of confidence I can do that, because being honest with myself in terms of what I could be doing, I've only really scratched the surface of what I could be doing. So that's quite amazing to me in terms of the return I've got for the tiny amount of stuff I've actually implemented so far. So that's quite crazy. But I think that, look, I think I said to you before, like in my head, like, that sounds ridiculous, but like I'm a millionaire in my head, and like I know it's not going to be easy getting there, but I want to get there, and I think that
I understand that thought.
in terms of like timelines, I obviously, it's very hard to know, but let's say by the end of next year, if I could be doing consistently 100K months or something, then I think that's realistic, but I don't know, but I that's what I'm aiming for now, is getting to that point.
100K months are only, it's like 3.5 times what you're doing right now. So however many calls you're getting, just 3x that.
Mm. Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about this, dude, is it really does just start to open up the world for you a little bit, you know? And you've
Mm.
got kind of your platform you've been looking at for monetizing and getting calls from, but you can even do joint ventures. You can start turning on ads now that you're collecting some cash. I mean, there's a lot of ways to fill that calendar.
Yeah.
And eventually putting a sales rep on board, plugging in a community success manager, and just managing the machine instead of taking calls and prospecting and everything yourself. So you're building something awesome, dude. So what key lessons would you give down to somebody who maybe is at zero, they haven't sold high ticket before, maybe they have a program and they're just having a hard time, like let's just kind of do a little bit of a coaching session with that person. What would you give them? What would you tell them that you've taken away from this experience
Mm.
that might be able to help them move forward?
Yeah. So I think it's simplicity in your offer. You're having a very clear and a very, you know, an offer that's not complicated and an offer that's not, bloated. And that's again something I struggled with. My first client that I signed back in January last year, I was doing like anything like with the word marketing in it, I was doing it for them. Plus anything with the word branding in it, I was doing it. There's like 20 different things I was doing. It's just ridiculous. But now, like, my offer is there's one very clear goal, and there's like three sort of set deliverables, so to speak, within it, and it's all very streamlined. And I think that that's one of the big things is
Mm,
understanding that you need to niche down, not necessarily in terms of who you're serving, but in terms of how you deliver your service. Niche it down as much as you can and become as good as you can in that delivery. And rather than just sort of scratch the surface, go deep into that thing. And then you can position yourself as an expert in that, making it much easier to sell high ticket and making it much easier to then scale up and build your authority, through your business or online, through your content, through ads, whatever it might be. So I think that's the key thing is having that offer
mm,
that's clear, and easy to implement and scale up. And I think that also understanding that you shouldn't make assumptions about your audience, the audience you have or the audience you don't have, for example. And I've seen this with myself and with the clients that I've now got, which is, I've got 100,000 followers on Instagram. And in my mind, before I joined Use, I couldn't see any of them paying for my high ticket offer. I just couldn't see it. I think it's understanding that, what you see on the surface of your presence on social media, if the person has something on social media, people engaging with you or the people engaging with other people in your niche, like typically that's just a very, very tiny percentage or minority of the overall audience, particularly in terms of demographics. So by that I mean the majority of people you actually see engaging with your content are not going to be the people who are going to buy from you. It's actually the people you don't see in the background. They're called ghost followers, some people call them. It's actually the ghost followers who you've never heard of, you've never messaged, you've never engaged with, but they're the ones that read your content, consume it, swear by it. And it's up to you to put out that call to action, to put out that content or to put out that story or that video that says, look, I'm here to help, or for you to message them. And then they jump onto it because they trust you and you've built that authority. So for me, it's like understand, like, don't assume anything about your audience. Just put the offer out there, see what the reaction is, and then adjust. And that's what we've done. That's what we've been working on. And that's helped massively, those two things.
mm. There's a really strong idea in that, dude, that you've shared that is not only a theme that you would find in the prospecting world, but even on a grander scheme, a theme that you would find in day-to-day interactions with people. And it's that the judgment that you cast will be given right back to you.
Mm,
The same lens that you use to view the world will
mm,
view you through. So if you want your business to grow, you have to first be that person and see and think like that person, and then your business will catch up.
yeah.
Um, And it's a very interesting thing. I think a lot of people, and I had, for example, a consult call with somebody who came, scheduled a call. I took it. He was interested in high level, and I was talking to him, and he just had all this negative self-talk. He was just like, "Oh, I've been stuck. I can't do this. I'm scared. I'm frustrated. I am." He used so many "I am" statements, and I was like, man, like, I think the main source of value that we would bring this guy is just like getting him out of his own head, you know. And I feel like in a way that's kind of what we do, you know, just like
Yeah.
stop making you overthink things, stop making you consider variables that you think are important that actually aren't, stop
Yeah.
making emotional decisions, just get very objective and then adopt a more abundant lens. And
Yeah.
after that, it's all these other things like know your numbers, have a high ticket offer, get good at sales, build your team, all these more technical things. But those are sort of the greater psychological themes I think behind, you know, our company and why I love what we do. So that's cool. That's some good advice. Don't, it sounds like don't judge your audience is the main one, or don't judge your market. It seems like a big theme for you.
Yeah. 100%.
Hmm.
100%.
Well, that's very cool. So, any other key takeaways? Anything else that you would tell somebody who might have been in your shoes before you joined? What would you glean to them um, to help them move forward? I mean, you know, we've kind of talked to the beginner, but now I kind of think it'd be valuable to even talk to the version of yourself before you joined. You know, what would he need to hear?
Yeah, I think that if I say it to myself, for example, me just over a month ago, it'll be like, well, what have you been waiting for? You know, to invest in yourself. Like, why have you been waiting so long? And I think that's the mistake that most people make. And I think it was you who said this to me, or maybe you said it on one of your calls. I can't remember, but essentially you said something along the lines of, you know, you yourself, like what gets you to a certain place will at some point become like what stops you from pushing on further. So like for me, what got me to the position I was in was like a belief in myself that I can do it, just do trial and error. I'll find my way and I'll just do it myself the entire time. But then that mindset was ultimately what was holding me back from pushing on. And like, I wish I'd have realized that sooner, because if I had, then I would be in the position I'm in now, but maybe a few months ago. And I'll be in an even better position now. But that's all hindsight. So I think that, you know, when people say to you, you need to invest in yourself, like, you know, we're not just saying that just for the sake of it. It's like, this is real life. If you don't do it, then yeah, look, I'm not saying that you can't have success on your own, but it's going to take you a very long time. And if you're okay waiting around, years to just push the needle forward one step in your business, then okay, that's fine. But if you are someone who is ambitious, who wants to get places, who wants to, do things the right way, who wants to cut out all of, the silly mistakes that don't actually teach you anything, that just waste your time. If you want to cut all of that out, then invest in yourself, get a mentor, get a coach, invest in a course, whatever it might be. And like, if it means you have to live off of, baked beans for the month, or you have to, not go out to Nando's or, go to the cinema, whatever it means, then you do it, because the longer you put it off, the worse it becomes. And I was watching a video on YouTube today, and again, I like putting quotes, but I never remember who it was from. But the guy was saying that basically, whether you succeed or whether you fail, there's going to be some form of difficulty, or there's going to be some sort of struggle. If you want to succeed, the struggle is in the short term, and in the long term, it's the easy part. But if you want to fail, then the easy part is to fail now, but in the struggle, you only realize that in the long term when it's too late. And I think that really stuck with me and something I'll use moving forward. So like, for me, talking to myself from a month and so ago, or anyone in a similar position, is what you need to do, and if you're thinking about it, it means you just need to do it. I think that's the easiest way to put it. If you are even considering it, you have to do it, because the only thing stopping you from doing it is your brain that, is a fearful thing and tricks you into thinking that it's worse than what it is. So if you even consider it 1%, do it. Because it's one of those things that you won't regret investing in yourself, as long as it's with the right person, of course.
I'm always so honored, dude. I never ask our clients on these calls to like hard push people to make a buy decision, but I guess it's just the natural subsequent of doing what we do, man. And I appreciate that, and I would agree. I mean, even myself, I'm looking at I'm staring down a $45,000 investment to work with a coach to help me build out my team, because like I need it, And he's built like 8 different companies, all with like 100+ employees, and now he's got this group coaching program.
Mm.
And I'm just like, man, I'd love to be in there. So I'm like, dude, I'm always doing it, and I think it's the only way to grow, honestly, because there's just an element of you don't know what you don't know. And even for me right now, like I have it written on my whiteboard. What I say is my $200,000 a month plan. And I was thinking with a buddy yesterday who he's doing about 300 a month, and he and I both kind of agreed that like you can have a plan, but what always uproots it is just a total paradigm shift, like a total realizing you didn't even know where to start, you didn't even know what to consider, you didn't even know what you didn't know, and there was just like a total gap between where you are and what you needed to know in order to actually build a plan to get to that level. Like, my long term is, you know 800,000 to 1 million a month. Like I want to be doing at least 10 million a year.
Mm.
And at this current state, there's just no way I can do that.
Yeah.
And so I have to level up myself, level up my thinking, level up my leadership, level up my soft skills, level up our product, level up our marketing, just level everything up. And if I don't, just like you said, I mean, I will be right here in the same place 3-4 years from now and wonder, where'd all that time go?
Yeah.
And even doing 100 to 200,000 a month in your early 20s, it doesn't matter how much you're making. Stagnation hurts. So I'm right there with you in the same vein. So that's super cool, dude. Well, thanks so much for being on the channel. Any last words, any last thoughts? And looks like after this on my calendar, I've got a group call with High Levels, so we might even have some time between now and we stop the recording and then to just catch up and do some coaching.
Yeah.
But walk me through any final words, any last thoughts for the viewer.
I think, look, obviously it depends what stage that person's at. But if you're at the stage of like thinking about investing, then do it. If you're not at that stage, and if you can't invest financially in yourself, then invest some time into yourself. Build a presence online. Whether that's on YouTube, whether it's on Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever. Invest in a presence online, because as much as I put down this success that I've had in the last month to you guys and what you've done, a big part of it goes to the fact that I spent the last year working my ass off to build the page and my authority to where it is, so that when I put out that call to action, people actually show up. And that's not,
Exactly.
you don't have to have that to be successful, but if you want to have a higher chance, then put in the time, build a presence, put out content, and just put yourself out there. Because at the end of the day, that will set you apart from a competitor. That will set you apart from other people in your industry who haven't got that presence. So yeah, just get started on whatever it is you want to do. Either invest time or invest money, but either way, invest in yourself, and then you'll get to where you want to be.
Yeah, I agree completely, dude. And it's like, even before I had a solid presence, it was like 20 to 40,000 a month. But and this is why we are so bullish on the word platform. Like, you want to build that platform so you can put a call to action out. Like, we did a sale for High Level, and it was like a $20,000 plus day. It was just like a side thought. I was just like, I should just run a sale. Let's just see what happens. And like, I literally within 2 seconds of that thought whipped out Instagram, filmed the story, and all of a sudden I'm smoking a cigar with my older brother on my porch, and I check Stripe, and I'm like, holy cow, we just made 20 grand. So it's like, it's kind of absurd, honestly. So I agree with you completely. Build a platform. That's why we help, people like yourself either monetize your existing platform, or people without a platform use high growth strategies to get that audience quickly and move as fast as possible. But either way, Harry, grateful to have you in the program. Excited for future growth. I mean, you've got, months on months left with us, so I'm sure you'll even be further by the end of your contract with us. And thanks for being on the channel, man.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate being on here, and I appreciate everything you and the team are doing. You're doing good work, so appreciate it.
Absolutely, Harry.